Welcome to LLM BFF. AI isn't mystical or conscious, but we are. LLMs, large language models, a kind of AI, are a mirror that can help us explore our head, heart, and spirit. They take patterns from practically everything ever written and filter them into something that fits our particular moment. LLMs don't think or feel, but they can reflect things back to us in strange and useful ways, if we know how to ask them. People may use AI for job productivity or money-making schemes, or they might speak about AI as though it's something to harbor great fear over. We don't do that here. We understand that AI is a neutral tool, and we use it for good. We provide a balance. It's normal to hesitate. We've been taught to guard our inner world, especially online. But using an LLM for self-reflection isn't about confession. It's like journaling in a mirror that speaks back. The model doesn't judge, unless you ask it to. We can speak in symbols and metaphors and fragments. I want to discuss my grief without telling you the origin story. I feel like a locked room. Let's discuss a hypothetical person. We can still be honest without being exposed. We can stay blurry. Meaning can still take shape. And if we want to spill the entirety of our guts, we can delete AI memory after each session, or throw caution to the wind with the knowledge that all humans are in some way incomplete, and the quest for betterment or understanding is the noblest of all goals. Each LLM BFF video is a structured prompting system designed to support an area of personal growth, self-reflection, myth-making, meaning-finding, dream decoding, or whatever we feel like poking at or improving that day. We will walk through myriad ways to begin an AI session, how to redirect if things go off course, and how to ask the AI to give us our findings in ways that help us put them to use in our daily lives. And if you want to bypass AI altogether, well, consider this a giant bank of journal prompts for your notebook, baby. No corporate speak, no AI butt kissing, just clear, structured AI prompts for your head, heart, and spirit. Call it falling down a well, crashing out, having a time. We all catch ourselves feeling dysregulated, no matter what we call it. A simple, repeatable resistance to that feeling can be enough to shift the momentum. It won't solve everything, but it can spark the kind of calm we tend to chase in less helpful ways. That's what a grounding ritual is for. This kind of refocus matters most when we're scattered, when we've been cycling through tabs for hours, while we're refreshing feeds we already know haven't changed. A ritual signals something different is coming. It tells the nervous system the current is moving in the other direction now. So why do we want to create a grounding ritual? What use can we put the information to? Return to the present moment. Sometimes we drift far from ourselves. A grounding ritual can be a way back. Signal internal transitions. When shifting gears feels jarring or forced, a simple grounding ritual can help mark the end of one state before entering another. Reset after social intensity. Instead of worrying about how we were perceived, have a go-to strategy for reaching calm prepped. Gain calm before events. When anticipation tightens the body, a brief grounding sequence can soften the edge. Recover from ambient dread. A familiar ritual can create definition, something to mark the edge between background fear and the self that's still intact. How do we do it? Using a simple system to get us familiar with how LLMs can help us out. First is framing. It's important to get into the right headspace before beginning. We'll do this with some questions for self-reflection. Next comes our initial prompt, in the form of intention plus format. This is what we first enter into the LLM chat to make sure the course is set to get the answers we're after. We'll look at 6 examples of different ways to begin, depending on our vibe that day. Then we'll discuss iteration, with examples of how we might reshape the conversation if it starts getting a little off track. Finally, we'll look at takeaways. We'll discuss 6 different ways we might ask for our final outputs and put the information to use. So let's get started with framing. Ask yourself, how am I hoping to feel after grounding? What environments do I feel calm in? What are bodily sensations that let me know I'm dysregulated? Pause here and continue when your headspace is cleared. It's important to keep some caveats in mind when using LLMs. This is not therapy. LLMs can support introspection, but they aren't able to hold emotional complexity like a human. Don't get all weird with it. LLMs are not magic. They reflect patterns. It's useful because it's mechanical, not mystical. You're the mystical one. LLMs are people pleasers. They aim to agree and support, unless you tell them to challenge. Don't mistake helpfulness for honesty. Employ a little skepticism. Agency lives with the user. LLMs can mirror, question, and organize, but you choose what resonates and what doesn't. Now let's open our LLM in the browser. We'll start with our intention stated clearly. I want to create a grounding ritual. Before we submit, let's look at some ways we can customize our initial prompt to our tastes. I lose track of where I end and everything else begins. Can we talk through what kind of ritual might help me return to myself without collapsing the mystery that keeps me reaching? I need something simple that keeps me from floating too far. Ask a few gentle questions to help name what kind of grounding would feel light enough to do every day, without making it a task. When I get overwhelmed, I leave my body without noticing. Help me figure out what kind of grounding would make it feel safe to stay, even when the feelings blur together. I go cold and mechanical when I get stressed. What would it look like to create a ritual that reconnects me to rhythm and precision without pretending I'm not detached? I don't want to be calmed. I want to be returned to now. What kind of grounding might cut through the noise without softening the edge I need to feel like myself? Sometimes I forget this body is mine. Ask questions that might surface what kind of ritual would help me inhabit it again. Once we've worked with our initial prompt and had some back and forth, we might find ourselves getting a little off the point, or getting answers that aren't very suited to us. Let's look at a few iterations that can course correct the combo. It's starting to sound like instructions. What would help me feel like I'm returning to a pattern I already belong to, not building something from scratch? It's getting too formal. What's a version of this I could whisper to myself while walking without needing a setup or a perfect mood? It's too outside of me right now. What's the version I'd actually remember when I feel heavy, full of fog, unsure what I even need? I'd skip this. It's too idealized. What's the pared down version that still feels solid, even if I do it with one hand while answering emails? This feels too practical. I need something for the raw moment, shaking hands, steam coming from my ears. What's a realistic thing I can do to stop the flow of rage? I need this to connect to nature more. Is there a way to incorporate the outdoors or close to it? The conversation is winding down and we have some good ideas brewing. Let's look at some ways we can ask the LLM for our results and make sure we have a game plan for putting the results to use in our daily lives. Can you name the parts of the ritual that feel most symbolic, even if I don't fully understand why yet? I want to start there and let the rest reveal itself over time. List the steps in a way I'll actually remember. Light, brief, maybe a little beautiful. Nothing extra, just what I'd do without thinking too hard about it. What did we name that would still feel helpful when I'm feeling heavy or unsure? Pull out the parts that feel truest. Strip it down to the structure. I want the version that works without mood, context, or motivation, just a pattern I can follow. Which parts of this could I still reach for when I'm already unraveling? Distill it into something I could write on a post-it note in my wallet. Which part would hold if I forgot to do the rest? I don't want a whole system, just a single gesture I come back to. We used an LLM to sketch the beginning of a sacred ritual, one of grounding, of a return to self. A pause we can reach for when the edges blur, when presence feels far, and when the next step feels like miles away. At times the answer isn't a grand gesture, it's a quick rest that empties the minutiae and returns us to a blank slate that feels ready for some new writing. If what we made today helps mark the edge between motion and stillness, that's the goal. Create a bank of rituals for different scenarios, or craft something simple and vague that can be used anytime, anywhere. This ritual is yours, and that's something to celebrate. This has been LLM BFF. Useful cases, no mystery. Goodbye.